The Kona SE Yesco. If you were one of the 125 people who were lucky enough to pony up the base price of $3 million for one of the real cars, you could be driving one of these on your local track. But if you're like the rest of us, you probably just bought the $1 Hot Wheels model, which is a pretty cool version of the car. But if you really want to splurge and you don't have $3 million for the real car, you could spend 30 bucks and you could get one of these. So this is a Kona SE Yesco from HKM, which is a premium. Actually, I would consider this super premium diecast, and this thing looks pretty cool to me. So we're going to get this off the base and take a closer look at it. So we had first encountered HKM a couple weeks ago when I picked up a Singer Porsche from the brand. I had I'll take a quick look at that. If you don't remember this green Porsche, it's a pretty nice looking model. It's not perfect, but it is very cool in my opinion. I do like it, and this one is just pretty amazing in reality. So this is, it's a very expensive hypercar. It's a fascinating car. The thing produces 1,281 horsepower on gasoline and up to 1,600 horsepower on biofuel, which is kind of astonishing that changing the fuel can make that much of a difference. But it looks to me that HKM has done a pretty nice job on this car. Like, let's zoom in on this wheel so you can see the perforated discs with some green calipers, and that is pretty accurate to the way that the real car is done. The trim along the base with the carbon fiber finish with these little green bits and other colors. This carbon fiber rear wing section, little bit of green trim on the bottom. They captured that as well, which is definitely on the real car. So you have lensed taillights, not a huge amount of detail in there, but I don't remember what the real taillights look like. And so this is a metal body, plastic base, rubber tires. It's not really gonna roll. It might kind of sort of roll, but not well. So yeah, Yesco badge here on the Kona SE badge on the hood, lensed headlights, nice carbon fiber treatment here as well. So this, yeah, very well done overall. Does look like there's a little bit of roughness in this paint right here, which is a little bit, that's a little unfortunate. But the rest of it looks super cool, and the lines on this definitely look better than the Hot Wheels. The Hot Wheels has that rear wing; it's tipped up, so I believe that this is an articulating rear wing, and it's adjustable so that it has different downforce levels on the real car. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, they did a beautiful job on this. Little bit of an unfortunate paint problem here. That's a bit disappointing to me, but it doesn't realistically it doesn't spoil the model for me too bad. But yeah, this is very cool, and I have been looking forward to seeing this one for a while. I had heard rumors that it was supposed to be coming out. A few people had mentioned this in the comments, and as soon as I came across it, I went ahead and grabbed one, and it's very nice. Other than that one small paint defect, which is, nothing's perfect. I'll just say that. But all right, anyway, moving on. Next, we have a new release from Sparky. This one I'm very excited about. I've been waiting for this one for a long time as well. So this is the first of the Porsche 917Ks from Sparky. This one is the winner of the Sebring 12 Hours from 1971 in a martini livery. which is very cool. So these are coming out in various different liveries. I believe most of the ones that are coming into the U.S. are going to be in Gulf livery, at least the initial release that I've seen. I don't know if they were bringing this one in. This one came from China, so I was able to get this one. So this is a Sparky, so it just twists off and it comes off the base very easily, which is a great feature of this brand. I wish other brands would do similar things. If they did, I might even be more likely to keep the cars on the bases. Normally I separate the cars from their little acrylic boxes because I don't really like them all that much, but so yeah, anyway, so the 917, this is very cool. Classic Le Mans race car. Obviously, this one was from the 12 Hours of Sebring, but, late 60s, early 70s endurance race car. And this is a very cool looking version. Hot Wheels has done this car, but this blows the Hot Wheels away. There's no comparison. So it is a Sparky, although this is which is metal body, plastic base, rubber tires, lensed headlights, and then if it has tail lights, they're just painted. But this is very heavy for a Sparky. Sparkies normally are very light. Some people often say they're resin, but they're not resin. They're metal, but they're very light for being a die-cast car. This one is much heavier than the typical Sparky, though, which is, I'm not sure why that is. But it is a very cool car. It does not have any rear view mirror or any mirrors on the car, and that is accurate. At the time, the car did not have any kind of wing mirrors or anything on it. You will find pictures of this car that does have wing mirrors, but I think those are from modern historic races, or where they they're running the old cars in modern races, so they have added those. I believe. Anyways, that's my hypothesis. Normally, the rear view mirror was just inside the cockpit. This does not have that, but and visibility out of these had to be horrible. I can't even imagine, racing a car like this at Le Mans in the dark when it's raining, and only having a rear view mirror on the inside of the cockpit with the rear limited amount of rear visibility that this car had to have had. That had to have been absolutely terrifying. Although this was the fastest thing around at the time, so you probably didn't have to worry too much about cars closing up on you from behind. You were really probably more worried about what was in front of you than what was behind you. So anyway, awesome release from Sparky. Definitely looking forward to seeing the other versions of this that are coming, and I think this will be a fantastic addition to my Le Mans collection, which is my favorite part of my collection for sure. All right, next from Para64, we have another version of the Audi RS Etron GT. So this is Audi's electric car. This is basically the Audi version of the Porsche Taycan, which is a very cool looking, to me anyways, a very cool looking electric car. And the Audi version likewise is also a pretty cool looking car. So this one is in, I believe it's called Daytona Gray. Yes, Daytona Gray. And this is the left-hand drive version. I don't know if Para64 has been putting out right-hand drive versions. That's not something that I personally care about at all. Because the interiors on 1/64 scale cars are always a little bit hard to appreciate in reality, unless you happen to have opening doors or something. But so we had seen this one previously in red, which is pretty cool looking in red. But I think the metallic gray on this version looks a little bit better to me. This red would have been nicer if it had been a metallic red or a pearl red, but it still looks pretty cool. And so Para64, so metal body, plastic base, rubber tires, no tread on the tires, which is always one of my big beef with Para64. Lens headlights. Headlights look pretty good. Pretty decent looking grille. Lens taillights which I personally don't mind the way that Para64 does the taillights, but I know some people don't like the lack of color blocking in them, which I agree with that. They would look better if they did have a little more detail in them. But yeah, it's a cool looking car. I like this. I'm a big fan of the Porsche Taycan. Every time I talk about these, I say if I were going to buy an electric car and I wanted to spend $200,000 on an electric car, which I don't, but I would buy a Porsche Taycan. But I will not be buying a Porsche Taycan because I would not spend $200,000 on a car. All right, next. From Greenlight. This is another release I'm very excited about. So this is a Rocky, so Greenlight Hollywood release. Rocky Hitch and Tow series with this Cadillac sedan DeVille, which I am very interested in. And then this Chevy C10 pickup is always a cool thing. Trailer, don't really care that much about, but get this out of the package and take a look at these. Very excited about this Cadillac. They've put out several versions of it now. And the most interesting one is actually the lowrider version, which I have not picked up any of those yet. I was in Hobby Lobby today where I picked this up, and I had hoped to find some of the lowriders, but they didn't have any. But I was happy to find this one, even though the prices that you pay at Hobby Lobby now are a little bit excessive. But this is a cool truck, C10 truck, in this kind of a rusty red color, brick red, I guess you would say. Looks like we've got a fingerprint here on the front. Looks like they stuck their finger in the silver paint and left an impression on the side there. Excellent. But it's actually a pretty decent white wall there. And Greenlight is not always great about making round white wall tires. Like this one's a little bit off, but not terrible. That one's pretty bad. But it can be much worse. Cool truck though. Trailer hitch. Yeah, this looks good. Other than the fingerprint. But excellent. Yeah, trailer. It's a trailer, flatbed trailer. Got some wood grain here, which looks pretty nice. Little ramps to hook on here. And these don't really seem to fold up necessarily. Unless there's, no, they don't go on that way. They go this way. But yeah, anyway, it's a trailer. Flat trailer. But the Cadillac is the star of this show, at least for me. And I love these old land yachts, so it's cool to have another addition to that collection. Does the hood open on this one? Looks like it should. Does it not open? I can't imagine that Greenlight would put one of these out without an opening hood. Maybe not. Well, I'm pretty sure that should open. Yeah, that definitely should open. I'm not going to be able to get it open. That's disappointing. But bumper's on there a little crooked. That's unfortunate as well. You know, always something. There's always something. And then we have some little wonky white wall tires again. But this is a cool car. Just cool. Really looking forward to getting the lowrider version of this. And I think there's at least one other version that they've put out so far. I think maybe is it a hobby shop release? I don't remember. They've done a couple different years. This one was, what was this one? This is 1973. So I know that there's at least a 1972 version of it as well. is very cool. Really like that. Truck is cool. Trailer is, it's a trailer. Let's put the car on the trailer. There we go. That looks cool. Cool set. All right, a little bit of an older Matchbox release. Picked this up the other day. This is one of my favorite Matchbox castings. This Aston Martin DBS Volante. I don't know. I just like it. I know a lot of people think it's a little bit too thin, but it's a Matchbox. It's not all their castings are the most accurate things in the world, but they usually do a pretty good job. And I just think this is, I don't know, I just love this one. For whatever reason. I'm not super happy about that graphic there. That's a little bit unnecessary, but I guess it was just part of the series that they did at this time. But yeah, it's a nice kind of cool metallic purple, I guess you would say, or electric blue, maybe, if you wanted to call it blue. So when was this? So this was the 60th anniversary release, so 2012. So this probably came out in 2013. And yeah, I don't know. One of my favorite Matchbox castings. Had to have it. Very nice. Next, one of my favorite Inno64 castings. This Toyota Celica. We've seen a number of these lately. And this one is another very cool looking addition to that selection. In particular, we saw this one a couple weeks ago. I think this one is just awesome. Just absolutely beautiful release. But all of these Celicas have been really cool. So this is the Celica 1600 GTV, and with a little luggage rack on the back with a suitcase on it, which looks pretty cool. And it's funny, this is a car that, one of many, and I've said this numerous times in videos, it's a car that a few years ago I would have had zero interest in. Old Toyota Celica, what's cool about those? I don't know, but collecting diecast has given me a huge appreciation for so many different cars that I don't know anything about. And the reality is I didn't know much about this car at the time. Still don't really know all that much about it. I just think that these are absolutely beautiful looking releases from Inno64. They just do a fantastic job. And this is a very cool variation. Nice metallic green. And so this one is a metal body, metal base, rubber tires. These do roll. And some versions have suspension. This one does appear to have suspension, which is pretty cool. And yeah, just fantastic. Looks like it has a blue interior, maybe. Always so hard to see inside there. But yeah, just another great addition to this rapidly growing Celica collection. So this is I think the 5th version of the Celica that I have now, or the 4th. Maybe it's the 4th. Yeah, it's the 4th version. So, but awesome, beautiful release. Next, from Tarmac Works. This is a Collab64 release, the Volvo 240 Turbo. So this is the Macau, I don't know how to say that, Gia race 1986 winner. And not sure who is this a collaboration with. I mean, I guess it could just be this Kamachi sports system, but that's the sponsor on the car, so I don't know. I'm not sure. It's Collab64 release, but who they're collaborating with I'm not entirely clear on. But this, I've been waiting for this one for a while too. This thing is I don't know, for some reason I'm a big fan of these old Volvos. I'm not entirely sure why, but I don't know, this thing looks awesome. So this is the shipping container packaging that Tarmac Works uses sometimes, which is pretty cool. Just has this flap that opens, and then the car is sitting on a little slide out plinth, which is pretty neat. And if you don't want the clear plastic piece, you can replace it with this panel and have a fully enclosed shipping container. But we were going to unscrew this from the base, and the shipping container will go into a bin with all of the other empty packages that I have. Now hundreds of hundreds of empty packages. It's a little bit overwhelming in reality. The number of empty acrylic boxes that I have been accruing since I started collecting premium and super premium diecast. But I can't bring myself to simply throw them away, because that seems wrong. But storing them, it's hard enough to find space to store the cars. Storing the boxes is just even another challenge. This thing is awesome. This is so cool. It is, yeah, very cool. This is on here a little crooked, whatever that is. Gas tank or whatever it is. It's not perfectly straight, but the rest of it doesn't look too bad. Although something about the windows in Tarmac Works releases, they are not the clearest plastic for some reason. They seem to have a lot of texture to them, which is something that Inno does much better job of. They seem to be able to get clearer plastic. I don't know why Tarmac struggles with that, but they certainly have at various times. So, but this is metal body, plastic base still. Tarmac has not gone to metal bases. This does not roll to any great extent, and it also is a little uneven. It rocks. So it's always my issue with Tarmac Works. Their releases tend to not be perfect. Inno64 definitely has better quality control in my opinion, and overall gets better detail. And Tarmac Works, this level of Tarmac Works and the Inno64 are at the same rough price point, so they're direct competitors in the market. And from my perspective, Inno64 wins in every comparison that I've ever done with them. But Inno doesn't do this car, so if you want this car, you got to get it from Tarmac Works, and it's still, just because of the car, it's an awesome release. Love it. Could it be done better? Probably. I would love to see Inno do it, but I'll take the Tarmac Works. It's good enough for me. Next, we have a couple of M2s. So we have a pair of Camaros. We have a 1971 Chevrolet Camaro SS 396, and then a 1972 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. So this will give us a opportunity to look at how M2 does with variations on a casting. This is something that Greenlight certainly does a very good job at, is capturing the subtle little details for different years and different trim levels on cars. But it's not something that I've ever really compared on M2, because I've actually, M2 was a brand that when I first started collecting, I bought very early on, because you can find them in stores, in Walmarts and whatever, with right down the aisle from Hot Wheels, and I did buy it very early, and I was not impressed. They seemed kind of cheap feeling, and they had quality issues. But since then, as I have collected more and more different brands, I have learned to appreciate the brand for what it is and the unique things that they do, which is, pretty cool. I have grown to like the brand, I guess is what I'm trying to get at, despite their issues. And it is a brand like Greenlight that definitely has issues. But they do some cool cars, and they do some unique cars. A lot of, especially older cars from the 50s and 60s, and sometimes even the 40s. This one is not any of those. This one is the, what year was this? 1972 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 in a baby blue color. This is the kind of drag version, so it has really wide rear tires. And this is from the series that I believe this is an Authentics release, although the what that actually means anymore is a little bit ambiguous. This is actually just a Chevrolet release, but so anyway, but in M2's line, what that means is you get a metal body, you get a metal base, and you will get opening parts. And we'll see. They'll try to open these parts. So this looks like it has an opening hood, which is not seated particularly well. But let's see if we can get this open. If I can get this, do it without chopping my finger off with the box cutter. And if I can open this hood without scratching the paint, which this hood does not want to open. Okay, there we go. So we have some engine detail in there. We're going to keep that hood open because we're going to want to compare the engines between these two models and see, because I believe they are supposed to have different engines. And we have opening doors and just a black interior. Not a whole lot going on in there, but it does have racing seats. If you can see that, I don't know, it's kind of hard to see in there, but it does have racing seats, and lensed headlights. Not the best looking headlights in the world, but that's right. We're going to leave that hood open, and I think this one may have lens taillights too, although they may just be painted. I think those are just painted. But yeah, I don't know, kind of cool. And then we have the other version, the 1971 Chevrolet Camaro SS 396. This also is in a drag version, even more of a drag version because it has little skinny front wheels, if this will focus. Skinny front wheels and slicks on the back, so even better prepared for the drag strip. And we can see the variation in the front end. We got a second set of lights on the front there, and a little bit of other detail variation in the grille. And this one has like a retractable soft top or something on there. And yeah, I think these are inserts for taillights. And I think yeah, so you can see the seats are different. That's an interesting detail, which is pretty cool. And let's see, can we open the hood on this one easily? A little bit easier. And we do have an engine variation, which is interesting. I know very little about engines in muscle cars. So if this is the 1971 Chevrolet Camaro SS 396. So is that a 396? If you can tell me. I couldn't tell. But it is cool when they tool variations like that. And I assume they're accurate. Why bother tooling a variation if you're not going to do it accurately? So, anyway, these are cool. Obviously, M2 is always a little bit rough around the edges. Like Greenlight, there's, you can see a little roughness in here, and like the tail lights aren't sitting perfectly. And anyway, I don't want to nitpick these. They are what they are. They're not a super expensive brand of diecast, and they're and again, you have to appreciate them for what they do, for the unique castings that they do, the unique variations that they try to put into their castings, and just what their releases are. It's a cool. I've learned to appreciate them, and I enjoy the brand now. So, all right, moving on. So this was a bit of a surprise. If this camera would focus, it would be very helpful. I found this in Hobby Lobby today, and this is Greenlight Barrett Jackson Series 2. So this is pretty old. It's from 2017, and this showed up in a Hobby Lobby. It's like they must have been clearing out their warehouse or something and found some old diecast. And this is not the first time I found something like that in a Hobby Lobby. I found some old Auto World and I think another older Greenlight in the past. It's kind of funny thing to find that. So 1972 Oldsmobile Cutlass 442. Barrett Jackson series is always a cool series from Greenlight. So this one sold for $61,600. Or at least that was the reserve price. Sold for $61,600. And yeah, pretty cool. Always love this series. And it's a pretty neat car. Yellow. I like these wheels. I think these wheels look cool. Brown, or kind of a I don't know what would you call this color? Like like poop brown. I don't know. beige seats. Painted headlights, silver bumpers, and pretty cool. And the hood should open on this. Nice engine in there, which is cool. So I was looking at pictures of this car to see. So this, my first thought was that this looks a little bit oddly proportioned. I believe this is an older Greenlight casting. If we can see anything. I don't know where the tooling number is on this one. Up there it is. Actually, yeah, it's number 7. So this is a very old Greenlight casting. So I was thinking it probably isn't the most perfectly proportioned of Greenlight models. Their newer releases are definitely better than their older ones, or their older castings. And I definitely think that's the case with this particular car. It's not terrible, but one thing that I did notice is that the way that this hood is done on the real car, these air scoop things they're further back on the hood than they are here. And then of course this hood doesn't quite sit right. But anyway, it's a cool car. I'm glad to find it. Old release. Definitely an unexpected thing to find in Hobby Lobby. So from Majorette, we have the Toyota GR Supra. So this was came from Australia from Chris at CRA Diecast, who was kind enough to send me a nice selection of Majorette a while back, and I've been working through it ever since. And this one is very cool looking. Nice yellow, opening doors, So this is a premium release. So in premium and Majorette line, you get a metal body, plastic base, and plastic tires, but you do get opening parts. And this case, you get doors. This one does seem to have plastic headlights and painted tail lights. And this is, what's the scale? 1/56 scale. So this is pretty large. But Majorette, love Majorette. It's always a fun brand. I definitely enjoy collecting it, and this is a very cool release. And another car, yet another. I mean, it's like an endless list of cars that my first impressions of the car were not very favorable, but it's grown on me tremendously. And it's largely grown on me because I've collected 1/64 scale versions of it. And I've definitely really grown to like the way that this Toyota Supra looks. Where originally I did not like it at all when it was first introduced. All right, next from Schuco, we have a BMW M3 E36 in yellow. And I believe this is a new casting, or a new-ish casting. I don't remember ever seeing this before. But I can certainly be wrong about that. It is definitely a recent release, but the casting itself, and I don't think Schuco puts any information on here about when the casting itself was made, but maybe somebody else knows. If you know, let me know if this is a new casting from Schuco or if it's just one they haven't used in a while. But it's a cool BMW. Lensed headlights. So metal body, metal base. Yeah, metal. Wait. No, I think that's plastic. Plastic base. Aren't Schuco's typically metal bases? Yeah, that may be metal. Okay, I think it's metal. Metal base. Rubber tires. Lens taillights. Got a little exhaust detail. Yeah, that's cool. Very nice. It doesn't roll very well. That's kind of unusual. It's focus here. It's a very rough roller. Schuco's normally roll perfectly smoothly, but this one is a unfortunate exception to that general rule. Yeah, it's a neat car. One of my neighbors drives one of these, except for his is black. But it's always cool to see him drive by in that thing. Now, another Inno64, and another car that we had seen saw a couple weeks ago. We saw this the road version of the car, and now we get it in a racing version. So this is the Nissan Skyline GTSR, so the R31 Skyline in Calsonic livery from the Japan Touring Car Championship in 1989. And this thing, again, Inno64, their releases now are just fantastic. They rarely miss with these new castings. And so this, yeah, I think it's a metal base. Okay, so metal body, metal base, rubber tires, fantastic looking wheels, tremendous amount of detail in there. It's very cool. Roll cage on the interior. You get a single seat since it's a race car. You can see the seat belt detail on the seat, which is cool. Little antenna on the roof there is awesome. Pretty nice looking headlights and taillights as well. Yeah, this is cool. I have so grown to be a fan of Inno64. The first couple releases that I got for them, I didn't absolutely love because the they were, they were metal body with a plastic base, and they were the completely slammed releases, so the tires were just jammed up in the wheel wells, and they just, I don't know, they were cool, but not like these newer ones are. These things are just amazing. And yeah, this one even can focus here. It rolls. Doesn't roll super well, but it does roll, which is always a nice thing. Yeah, very, very cool. Love this one. Actually, I love just about all these. That's why I buy them. And next we have the Lamborghini Huracan Evo in Verde Mantis. And from Mini GT, this is collector number 328. And, Mini GT is always a great brand. I haven't had very many Mini GTs lately. Seems a little bit of a lull in their releases. At least a lull in the ones that I've been interested in, I guess. I think there have been maybe some other GTRs and stuff that I don't pick up all their GTRs. Oh wow, that's an interesting color. That is not what I was expecting. Thought I had something else in this Verde Mantis color, and I don't remember it being this shade. But this looks pretty cool. It's a nice metallic green. Or maybe a pearl green. I guess and it's probably more, I'd describe it more as a pearl. I don't know if you can see that on camera. But yeah, pretty cool. It's definitely the kind of color that works on a car like this and may not work on other cars. But we've seen this Huracan casting many times now, but it's always fantastic. And of course, it's Mini GT, so metal body, metal base, rubber tires, lensed headlights with some nice detail in the headlights and lens taillights. Yeah. And yeah, this is cool. And it should roll. They always do. Or almost always, anyways. Does this one have rubberized mirrors? Yeah, it does. It's always a nice feature on Mini GTs. Yeah, very cool. But it's casting I've seen many times. So just a nice addition to that collection. It seems I'm going to be picking those all up. Not entirely sure why, but it's what I do. So another M2 and the 1950 Studebaker 2R truck in a Holly livery. This Studebaker has been, or Studebakers in general, is something I definitely collect. Started with the Greenlight Studebaker Champion and Commander casting, which I have collected all of them, and has now expanded to the Johnny Lightning Golden Hawk and this M2. They have a 2R and a 3R Studebaker trucks that they have put out in a large number of different variations. And this one is pretty cool. So they added it's kind of looks like maybe a bit lowered. Is that true? Maybe lowered? I don't know. And then this plastic bed cover here. And They always do these license plate with the model years on these. But it's very cool. So this is actually this one. So earlier we saw the M2 releases from the Authentics series. This is from the Auto Drivers series. So in the Auto Drivers, they'll use the same castings, but you'll get metal body, plastic base, rubber tires, and even though the casting has an opening part, like the hood does open on some releases, the Auto Drivers level releases do not have opening parts. But it's a cool truck. So we have a few other versions of Studebaker trucks that they have put out. There's a lot of different variations of these, which is cool. They do tow truck versions, and actually I have a tow truck version here. This was a really cool release. This one was another gift to me from Rick at a Whole Lot of Zap, which is a very, very nice thing. So, awesome. Another very cool release. And then Greenlight, 1980 Chevrolet El Camino SS, GL Muscle Series 26. And this is a casting I do not have any example of. And this looked to be a pretty cool version to pick up. Yeah, this is very neat looking. So you've got painted headlights and painted taillights on this one. I don't think there's any opening parts on this. Doesn't look like that hood opens. But yeah, this is, you know, the 1980s. This was a 1980, right? Throw the package away. Yeah, 1980 Chevrolet El Camino. I guess I could have looked at the bottom as well. Yeah, it does say 1980 Chevrolet El Camino. Very small print, but it is there. 80s cars were not all things of beauty. They tend to get there. They kind of got a little boxy there for a little while, and this front end definitely is kind of that sort. But this looks pretty cool. The white and gold look to this is pretty awesome. Yeah, this is definitely a good version of this car to pick up, and it doesn't seem to have any major issues. That's excellent. And it even rolls pretty well. Very cool. Awesome. All right, one more, and then we will be done. And so this one is obviously an Auto World Ultra Red. This is the first Ultra Red I ever found. I've bought numerous Auto World cases. I've never even pulled an Ultra Red out of a case. And I found this in store, and it's one of the worst, the worst Ultra Reds ever. It's, I don't know, the red tire thing just looks awful. But I after I got it, I almost left it, but I was like, I can't leave an Ultra Red. I've never found one before. I have to grab it. But these red tires, they just look terrible. So we're just gonna take these off, and let's see. I'm actually not a huge. So this is the main release, or the non Ultra Red version of this, and I'm actually not a huge fan of this particular release. So I'm just gonna steal the tires off of this and put them on the Ultra Red. Let's see, because I think the Ultra Red is actually the coolest looking version of this stealth casting that they've put out, but they ruined it with those red tires. So we'll put the black tires on there, and yeah, it looks a lot better. It's definitely better than that. The white wheels don't look great. It would be better to probably just base swap it. So you had silver wheels with the ultra red body. But yeah, the ultra red looks awesome. Of all of the versions of this car that they've put out, I think the ultra red is the best. But those red tires, hideous. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. It looks pretty cool. So you get the white base, and not my favorite Auto World casting for sure. So it was a little disappointing that the only ultra red I've ever found was this one. But you know, you, I don't hunt often enough to find chase pieces, and I don't collect chase pieces. I didn't really, anyway, I'm not going to keep talking about this. This video's been long enough, so thank you for watching.